We are living through one of the biggest changes in history. Technology and work are changing, and so are we. Every day, new technology reshapes our lives, often faster than we can understand it. Grasp what's happening, what it means for you, and how stay ahead. Welcome to The Future Was Yesterday, a podcast where we talk with the leaders who are reshaping the world of work. Because the future isn't coming, it's already here.
Welcome, Dean, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start by asking if you can tell us a little bit about what you are doing at the moment.
Sure. So I run a business called Tenacious AI Marketing Global and another business called Answer Architect. Tenacious is born around helping people to get mentioned by AI. And there's this huge shift at the moment from kind of SEO side of things that people have done for years, and Google, has owned that marketplace for years. And 18 months ago, we started talking as a business about ask engine optimization, as we were calling it then. And people thought that I was a little bit mad because I was creating these videos that said, SEO is going to change and Google's going to die. And, there were no AI overloads yet. There was no Google AI mode. It was just everything was normal in the SEO world, and people just thought, this guy's mad. Like, who does he think he is? Google's got 90% market share, But we could see that shift, lots more users of ChatGPT, Claude, and so we started talking about this subject that now is kind of it's grown since kind of April of 2025, put in the kind of AI overlays, and then quite soon afterwards they created a whole Google AI mode, the fastest rollout in years, because Google could see that, if it stayed the same, it would become a dinosaur, and people search in a different way. They want ease, they want speed, and AI gives them that. So you got to meet the customer where the customer is. So we're helping people, the rest of the world woke up to this kind of July of last year. So for the last 6 to 9 months, all the SEO agencies globally have been trying to work out how to get AI to say your name. And some say that it's no different, that if you rank in Google, you rank in AI. What's transpired is that's not true. Some of the biggest brands in the world get, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers from AI, Google. But in AI, 100, 200 visitors, some of them none, some of them zero. And we just understand that problem and help to fix that problem. A lot of it is as simple as, in order to be the answer to a question in AI, you have to have answered the question somewhere in history. So if you want to be the answer for 2,000 questions, you just have to look at a business, and most businesses have never answered one question, let alone 2,000. So you've just got to change the way that you market, less towards people, but more towards AI. So that's what we're helping businesses to challenge.
Precisely yesterday, and sorry, I interrupt you, but yesterday we had another guest who was talking precisely about this problem. And she was very worried that the job that she has been doing for the last decade was not possible to be discoverable by the AI tools. And the AI tools found people referring her work, but not finding the direct connection to her. So she was trying to find a way how to preserve the IP, her ideas, and make them discoverable for these technologies. And I think it's a problem maybe for a niche at the moment, but the most people will be using this, and the most people are starting to recognize the difference, how you were mentioning, no? how they are going to be discoverable with AI tools. I think it's going to become more and more important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the kind of the quotes from your Gartners and your HubSpots and your Salesforces, and the kind of the people who tend to know based on the data, is that 50% of all AI searches by the end of this year, 50% of all search will be in an AI engine. And Google AI Mode is an AI engine. AI overlays is an AI engine, which means that the Google Links is almost the old-fashioned version. Eventually, I think that will become Google AI Mode. But the problem there is that those companies that get 50,000, 100,000 visitors from the links don't get that from the AI overlays or from Google AI Mode, because its job is to give an answer, not to refer traffic.
Yeah.
However, if you can understand how the LLMs work, you can get referred traffic to your website, and that'll actually be 10 times more valuable. Those would be sales qualified leads, not marketing qualified leads, because of how people search in those engines. So we're tackling that in Tenacious. What we also then built is Answer Architect, because we've been working with clients for 18 months, helping them to become the answer in AI. But there was always this, well, how do we track it? And in SEO for years, you've had Ahrefs and SEMrush and all these tools that can give you all of the data on exactly how you're doing and exactly how many numbers you have, and it's all trackable. And when it comes to being the answer in AI, that's not been trackable. So we've been doing all this for work for clients, and we weren't able last year to report back on the successes. And so for the last 9 months since Google went AI mode, people have been trying to build this AI visibility tool, a tool that can track when you get mentioned and where you get mentioned, in which LLMs you get mentioned, and for what prompt or question are you the answer, and so that you can create content that you try to be the answer, but then you can track it. And we got so frustrated that we just started to build our own tool. So now we've built Answer Architect, which is a tool that you can go in. Anyone for free can go in and scan their website, and it will tell them from a website layer, the structured layer, what they need to fix or what doesn't work so well. It will give them an AI visibility score based on the website, and that's free to do. If they become a subscribing member, what they can also do is go in and do keyword research, like you can also do Google keywords, find that, but prompt based. Find questions that people are searching for. And then track visibility, so you can see when your business is being mentioned, where is it being mentioned and in which AI engines. So you get this kind of visibility and tracking. And what you can also do, which is really cool as well, is you can come up with the questions. So, if I'm a cleaning contractor in London, for example, I can create the prompt or question in Answer Architect of the best cleaning contractor in London, for example, or the most effective cleaning contractor in London, or the whatever I want those terms to be. And I can track that question so that whenever I'm the answer to that exact question across the LLMs, it will tell me and it'll send me a weekly report of all the questions. And there might be like 40 questions that someone's written out they want to track. Because what they do then is they go and they create their marketing to try to be the answer, and then they track it. Okay, well, I'm not now. Okay, so I need to do this in a different way. And then they track it. So that's what we've built alongside the agency, with
So
a done for you service as well.
if I can, a customer, a client that is going with you, what will be the suggestion for the customer or the evaluation of the customer? It's improve their website for it's more easy to be find, to be recognized by these tools, or eventually the search engine is going to adapt to the new parameters, and for the business owner is business as always. What is going to happen there? Who has to move first?
Well, I think there's definitely a first mover opportunity. This is like when the internet first came out, when SEO first became a thing. It's the first movers. When Facebook first became a thing, it's those first movers who become the millionaires. Those are the ones who benefit. The ones who move second have to pay a lot of money to try to catch up. Like if I want to become number one on Google right now, I'm a marketing agency. There's a hell of a lot of competition. So one, it's going to get very expensive. I'm probably going to have to spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and go on a 18-month road and be prepared to spend a lot of money to try to get to page one if I wanted to get there. And I probably may never get there. And I may get a return for that. So from an SEO point of view, that's really difficult. But these AI engines, they're learning all of the time. So they're a bit like a toddler. I don't think it's like Google, where Google knows, and so it can rank, and it has a knowledge graph that's very set in stone, and for every business globally, it knows from 20 years of data. I don't think AI knows that, and so you can start to kind of dominate. Small companies could start up today and get more mentions from AI than their £100 million market leader. That's crazy. That's the first time ever that David versus Goliath. Not the first time ever, the first time in 20 years since SEO started. The same is true paid ads. When paid ads started, you could get 10 pence a click. You could get people cleaned up. As more people adopt it and more people, use it, it gets more expensive and it gets more competitive. Right now, getting AI to say your name may sound expensive, but it would cost you less than the cost of a salesperson and could quadruple, could 10x your business in a year's time if you do it now. But in answer to your question, how does it work? Let me give you an overview of how it works. The first layer is your website. SEO is all about the website predominantly. So PR and backlinks and stuff like that. But predominantly, most of that work sits on the website. For me, that's 20% of the problem, which is why I don't think all SEO agencies can fix the problem right now. And I don't think all internal marketing teams in companies can fix the problem because it's a new problem. So their teams aren't trained in it. So there's this kind of huge opportunity, but no one knows how to do it. The 20% is the structured layer. The reason I say that is one of the reasons why I've sat in front of fashion brands, retail brands, and B2B brands that get tens of thousands of customers before they get up off their chair, get tens of millions of pounds from Google, but they get nothing from LLMs. And that's crazy because, it should correlate over here, but it doesn't. The reason for that is two simple reasons at the start. So at that structured layer, you have something called schema markup. And schema is JSON-led code. It's just a code that you put into your head section of your website. You copy and paste it. Even, I'm probably talking gobbledygook to a lot of listeners, but if you think about this, a lot of the listeners will have had a Google Analytics or a Google Search Console or something. And when you go to sign up to that service, it gives you a bit of code and it asks you to put that code in your head section so that it can track your analytics, right? A lot of people will have done that. Similar kind of thing. There's a piece of code that you need to have for every piece of content. And I know there'll be lots of SEO agencies who are thinking, well, we've done that for years. That's nothing new. They have. But if it's a web page, that SEO, that schema is going to say, here's a web page. This is what it is. This is what it does. Here's the schema. Here's the author. Here's the publish date. The same for blogs. It's going to go up. This is the author. This is the publish date. This is what the blog's about. Here's the title, all the metadata. Wonderful. But the schema is quite basic. What AI is looking for is a different filter. Yes, okay, I can see you have a blog. Yeah, okay. It might answer the question. But AI is looking for, but why you? Why are you credible? Why should you be the answer? Why is you as an expert is credible? If that's not in the schema, the blog's in, that you're not going to be the answer. So, sometimes you train the AI through the schema. So, a good schema potentially should have around awards that you've won, around the founder of that business, around PR, around reviews, etc. All at this kind of structured layer. For a lot of people, they don't even have schema. which means they're effectively invisible because AI doesn't read your content in the same way as Google does. So that's the first problem. The second problem is that we as businesses have been doing content for years based on here's the keywords I want to rank for.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to write content and marketing aimed at people, but people like kind of paragraphs. They like it, things explained they like expertise. They like, AI doesn't care about that. It's like a mirror. Someone asks a question, it goes to the mirror for the answer. Have you got the answer? No, because we've been marketing to humans. So you've got to start answering some questions somehow, either in your videos or on your blogs or in your social content. The reality, I think, is in a year's time, is that if you're not marketing to AI instead of humans, humans will never see you.
How do you do that? How you can talk to the AI for you are relevant to them?
AI, I think it's like the path to least resistance. If you were AI, if you were the AI LLM, so you are ChatGPT, your job would be someone asks you a question, you answer the question in the best way possible. And to do that, you're going to scan, first of all, 1 million websites. You're going to look at the structured layer and say, can I quickly and easily see what this company is about and why they might be the answer? And so then that narrows it down to 100,000 businesses, right? If you don't have good schema and your website isn't clear on who you are and what you do and why you're the answer, you're not in that layer. Once you get down to that 100,000, you would be looking at, okay, well, look, they seem to have the answer, but who's the company? Why are they credible? Like, who's the person? Why is he an expert? Like, why should we listen to him? Is it factual? And it's going to start putting another layer of decision making as to whether you should be the right answer. Now you get down to, say, 10,000 people. Okay, well, let me go and have a look at the reviews that that person has and why they're credible. And now you get down to all AI is doing is filtering very, very quickly as possible to get the very best answer. And that might be a mixture of then taking 3 to 5 people to become the answer. And it'll give the AI overview. It'll literally give the answer. You just want to be one of those 3 to 5 people in that filtering. It's a bit like a sales navigator filter. That's what AI is doing. It's filtering you.
It's not that you are mentioning. I start thinking on when you are looking for something, for example, in cloud, and it's showing this process, how it's finding things and doing, like you said, the filtering, taking you from A to B and to C, and until it's finding the reference or the ideal answer for what you are asking for. No, it's how to get included in this, how to pass the filters. No.
And then you talk about, the different, if you go and have a look at that, you'll see there's similar kind of cited sources. And if you do the research into that, which myself and my team have done, but also have studied the research of what other people with bigger teams have done, and you start to dive into that, your website and the SEO layer is only really 20% of the real story. And once you start looking at all of the citations, maybe about 30% of those are going to be, from YouTube. 20% of those are going to be from Reddit. Now, that's fascinating. Why is that fascinating? Because how many businesses do you talk to that have a YouTube and a Reddit strategy?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
None.
You just
Not
nail
many.
it. Yeah.
And it's not for people. When I say to people, you have to launch a YouTube strategy, they say to me, yeah, but we're not that kind of business. And, we're not very glossy in front of the camera. It's not really what we do. You're not doing it to make YouTube revenue. You're not doing it to get people to like you. Of course, you want to get subscribers. We all have those vanity metrics, but you're not doing it for that reason. YouTube's a fantastic platform because you could pick up your phone now and you could answer one question now in 60 seconds. You could answer 5 in 10 minutes, and you could upload 5 videos a day to YouTube. That's 100 questions a week if you did that. No, it's not. A month. Which is what? 1,200 questions on video answered on YouTube. If you fast forward, Gemini has one of the biggest budgets. Is probably going to, in the end, win this AI race, in my opinion. And Google's not going to die, as I was saying 18 months ago. But Gemini owns YouTube. It's not rocket science to say it's going to be favoring its own platform and citing. So if Gary Vee's someone who's advocating this quite a lot. He has a lot of videos at the moment about YouTube Shorts is the biggest player in marketing. So here's a guy who has a $400 million agency, Vayner Media, and he's saying that YouTube has gone from number 6 as a platform to number 1. And he's advising people that 30% of their marketing budget, 20 to 30% of their marketing budget as a whole, everything should go into YouTube. That's crazy, isn't it?
Thinking now about the topic of the podcast, that is the future of work. Here is a lot to unpack about that. But from your perspective, where do you see the biggest change? Are the marketing agencies going to disappear? Are the businesses going to develop their small marketing agent to continue work?
I have this view that, AI is fantastic. Like it's far more intelligent than you or I, and I say this to my team as well. AI is far more intelligent. It has access to far more information at speed, right? But what it'll never be good at, it'll never have what I think is important in humans is it'll never have heart and brain cohesion. It'll never have gut feeling. It'll never have heart, sentiment, humor, all of the things that make people brilliant. So when we're looking from a marketing's perspective, and I want to come on to the future of AI because I have some opinions around that as well. But from a marketing perspective, it could well be that we won't have an agency in 12 months' time. But I don't think that will happen because I see a world at the moment where there's 5 times more content on social platforms. And by the way, socials are the other 50% of decision making. Humans will never visit. In a year's time, humans will hardly ever visit a website. They will discover you and decide to buy you in AI, or they will discover you and decide to buy you in socials. And again, how many businesses have a social strategy? Not many of them. It's a dangerous problem for business. They've got to tackle that problem now and wake up. So there's 2 things. One is having know-how. 2 is having the creativity. And I think that when in a sea of AI noise, so you're right, these AI tools will be brilliant at coming up with content, etc. But humans, funny thing about humans is we're already getting annoyed with all the AI content. So imagine 10 times more people doing it, millions and millions more of the same content. Who do you think is going to look different? Marketing has changed. The kind of raw, unedited content. Things like this podcast, lives are going to be really important. Unedited raw video. If you as a business owner start getting heavily into video right now, when that sea of AI content comes, people are going to they're going to see that as really authentic, really, you get to see, like, and taste and trust someone. Where if it's all AI, yeah, everyone can do it at speed and it's low cost. But it doesn't mean the human's going to trust you, and it's still the human who decides whether to buy from you or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the future of jobs, around that, I mean, we are also helping a lot of businesses. We have a couple of AI architects within Tenacious, and we're helping businesses to automate building SaaS platforms. Obviously, we've built our own with Answer Architect, and we have knowledge to build throughout with N8N, Claude Code, so there's all sorts of ways that businesses can automate their business from front to back, whether that's sales support systems, customer service systems, agentic AI calling bots, cold email outreach, all of those kind of things our team can build. But when you look at people and how they're going to use AI, someone could set up a business in I don't know, a morning or a day, all of the infrastructure. I mean, you had to you used to have to spend 2 to 3 years and learn and practice and fail, and you know, someone could do that pretty much instantly. So it does pose that question, doesn't it? You know, where does that leave us if everyone has access
You,
to everything?
before COVID, I had chance to work for a couple of years in a marketing agency. And now I can see a lot of the things that we were doing at the marketing agency. Like you said, it's possible to do it instantly in an hour. What we were doing for a campaign in an hour, in a week or 2 weeks or something. But the other part was of course, it's the creative effort, the briefings that we have a table full of people thinking, discussing what will be the best strategy for this product. And even though when you finish a campaign and you are going with the director or the CEO or the owner of the company that you're making your advertisement for, and they don't like it or they want to change things, and now you can do all these things from home, from one platform, and do your own marketing and don't need anyone. But that doesn't guarantee that the campaign that you made yourself is going to work, because we have a lot of biases. We maybe don't have the tactical expertise to understand if this is going to work, this is not going to work. So I think we need to find or eventually we will find, hopefully, a way how to manage things in which the experience, the gut, like you were saying, it's still relevant, and giving input and giving validation, or at least
We live in
keeping the
I mean, it is possible for anyone to do any marketing if they're thinking of people, not if they're thinking of AI, because then it comes back to that know-how, that middle bit. And equally, you know, I think if you think about all the algorithms and that interest content, that if your content is not interesting enough, then you won't get to the right people anyway, and you'd be locked in that jail. Most of the platforms are set up in a way that's pay to play. You pay, you get visibility, or you don't. The only way to get around that is volume. So you put out a volume of stuff, and then it's like a lottery ticket. One of them might fly, and that's where you make your money. The rest of it maybe doesn't. So people get stuck in this balance of they're trying to either be too perfect that they don't have volume, so they don't have a lottery ticket because they're trying to protect brand. And if you're trying to protect brand and you're a small business, you know, how many posts can you do? Not many. So you haven't got many lottery tickets. If you're in some of the brands that you'll see with 10 million followers, they'll have done a couple of things. One is they'll have paid for some of that following along the way. And, but the second thing is they'll have had a lot of volume. So, if someone's putting out 100 posts a day and 99 flop, but one goes to 1 million, that's still 1 million views on brand. The only downside for small businesses, they can get all of this stuff for free, but it's how do they have the right lottery ticket? How do they tackle volume,
Yeah, absolutely. And we are reaching the final part of the conversation. I wanted to ask, based on your experience, your point of view, which transformation do you see coming in the next year, the next 3 years, regarding to how things are at the moment? What is going to maybe crystallize, and what is maybe going to fade away?
So I think that the generative engine optimization will always be something that now, if you know how to do it, there's a first mover opportunity. In 12 months' time, when more people know how to do it, and have got the keys to that, it'll become a very expensive opportunity, but it'll still be the SEO of today, like that know-how. You'd still have to have the know-how. A lot of business owners, you can give them the DIY. I give everything that we have away for free. We have a YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers coming up for. We give everything away for free on there. There's nothing that I know that I wouldn't have said or given to people as a kind of free actionable tips. Because I know that, most business owners don't want to do it themselves. They want to hire somebody who's knowledgeable, who knows how to do it for them. They want a done for you service, not to know every skill, which would, in business these days, we can't know every skill, right?
Yeah.
On the automation side of things, most of our clients are 50 to 70-year-old, 75% males, but we have females also. And they've done what they've always done. They've been very successful people and they have great businesses. But along comes the carpet's been pulled, the rug from underneath them, and they realize that they have to automate and they have to somehow implement agents into their business to move faster because someone else's business is catching up or has overtaken them, and they're worried and they need to use AI in their business, or they need to, build a new website that's relevant, or they need to build apps, or they need to, all this kind of stuff is quite scary to someone that is set in their ways. And they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which is true to a certain extent. Those people, I think, is the shift where certainly for the next kind of 24 months, it's going to be fabulous to help those people to modernize their business, to automate along those processes, help them to stay relevant and survive in an AI era.
This you already gave us so much valuable information and really practical advice, and really I'm very grateful for that. As last question for my side, I would like to ask you, because this is part of our audience, the people that it's maybe thinking they are still working in their daily jobs in the 9 to 5, but they are thinking in start something, maybe a side hustle, or maybe open their own business, or try to look for a different opportunity. What will be an advice for them? How this person that had been working 10, 15 years in an office can be discoverable for the new technologies, for the new opportunities that are rising at the moment?
It's really exciting for someone that wants to break out, that wants to go and do something. It's probably it's the best opportunity in 50 years for someone like that. Because all of the information is out there and all of the systems are out there and it's relatively cheap to do. So if you have an idea, if you're passionate about something, or you have something that you think could be a really good idea and could make a business, then open up an AI of choice. Could be Claude, could be ChatGPT. I would recommend open up Claude. Download Claude for desktop, get it onto your computer. And some people would say, just be careful around security, making data public, do be careful about what you give to AI, because then it's public, right? So, but with that in mind, open up the LLM that you want to work with and start asking some questions. Claude, you can run out of tokens quite quickly. So maybe ChatGPT and Claude, and say, right, I want to do go-to-market research. This is my idea. This is what I want to build. Research the whole of the internet. Click deep research and allow it to research the whole of the internet and do the market research piece. It'll be fairly good. And then at the end, ask it to fact check itself, make sure that everything's factual. Now you're going to have that market research that used to take 2 or 3 months, maybe. Then open up the code section of Claude and say, right, I want to design a website. It should be super simple. There'll be loads of YouTube, to how do you because you have to download like JS Node or whatever it is to get the terminal open that you could do a bit of coding. But either that or Replit.com, I think it is. You could build a website in a morning, but you don't have to have any technical skills. You just describe to it what you want to build, and the AI agent will code it for you. So now you've got the market research, you've got the website, and then from there, it can teach you how to sell, do all of the learning on there. Anything that you're trying to do when you get stuck within this really great space where you just take a screenshot, put it back into the AI and say, this is where I'm stuck. You told me to do this. I put this. I got this error message. This is where I'm stuck. Screenshot, ask another question, and it will tell you what to do next. Then when you get stuck, screenshot, ask another. There is literally nothing you cannot do. It's not like in the old days where we had to go and we had to learn and it was experience and it took a long time and you lost money and you know, as you learned these skills over probably 5 years. Right now, you could learn it all in a week. And then it's just about, so it's super, super easy for someone to get going, but do it as a side hustle. Don't leave your job and then start doing this, you know, but just know that it is quick and you could do anything and have the confidence that with screenshot and ask,
we have the freedom
you can do anything.
to try, no? To at least to try.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to put your links then if someone wants to reach you out and try to get your services or a consultation. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It had been wonderful speaking to you, and thanks for all your expertise and everything, all the knowledge that you gave us today. I hope
Thank
it's
you very
not
much
going
for
to be the
having me. It's
last
been a
time.
privilege.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And thanks to our couple of listeners. Remember that we learn from each other. I wish you agency and a wonderful day. And remember that the future was yesterday. Thanks so much.
Hi, this episode is brought to you by Sala. Building for the future shouldn't feel overwhelming. Sala is an all-in-one solution designed to support you at every stage. From shaping an idea to AI-powered customer service. But Sala don't just focus on technology. They help you make sense of it and actually use it in a way that works for you. If you're looking to grow, adapt, or future-proof your business, check out Sala.